Hello and welcome back to Old Lady Plays. I'm Kate, the old lady, and this is episode 58 of To Dare is to Do, a Spurs save. We're back. We are finally back. And this episode is going to be a story so far episode. The idea being that because I've been off for 3.5 months, it would be nice to get people caught up on what has gone on before, so that if somebody wants to jump into the series at this point, they can do so and still feel like they've, kept up with what's going on. So that's what this episode's going to be. Let's get into it. Alright, so here's where it all began. We started off by, on the last day of the transfer deadline, buying Kasper Dolberg from Ajax because we really needed a backup striker, and Vincent Janssen had never been able to cut it. So yes, we brought Kasper Dolberg, but you'll notice that we immediately loaned him back, and that was until January, I believe, when he actually joined us. Right? Yes. So he did play 15 games for us that year with only one goal. So he started off very slowly. But he's done well for us. I'm very happy with his purchase. 26 million from Ajax. Later in the year, we grabbed Christopher Ayer from Celtic, the Norwegian centre-back / defensive midfielder, and he's played defensive midfielder almost exclusively for us. And done very well at it. He's actually now also very good as a central midfielder. So he's been very useful for us. I've been quite happy with him. Again, on the very last day of the transfer window. As far as outs, we loaned Vincent Janssen to Cardiff in January because we knew Dolberg had arrived, and there was no way that he was going to get any more time. And then Chinese team Quanjian came in for Victor Wanyama, and they wanted to give us 24 million for him, so we were pretty happy with that. That's why we bought Ayer to replace Wanyama. So that's the first. That's the first thing is the transfer ins and outs. Here's the way the season went. We, as you see, we had a bunch of friendlies, blah, blah, blah. The season started off okay. We lost to Liverpool early 4-2, which was very frustrating. We lost to Man City 2-1 fairly early. And Paris SG in the Champions Cup Group E. We got an interesting draw. CSKA Moscow, Paris SG, and Young Boys, of Switzerland. And it went relatively well. We lost to Moscow and PSG, but we did make it through to the Champions Cup knockout round. You'll see also that we managed to get through in the FA Cup third round, and then the Carabao Cup semi-final we lost. Again, Liverpool. Liverpool have become a rival of ours, like an official rival, because of the number of competitive matches in which we have, and important competitive matches in which we've played them. And early on, they had all the going of it. So we had, this 3-1 win for them. We came back and won 1-0 the other way, but unfortunately was not enough. FA Cup, we continued to move forward, beating Notts Forest and so on. Here we are in the Champions League. Kasper Dolberg, we won that round. FA Cup 6th round, that's great. FA Cup semi-final, lost in extra time to Man City. Very frustrating. Still playing very well in the league, though, you'll notice. Champions Cup quarter-final against Real Madrid after we'd played Atletico in the first knockout round. We got Real in the quarter-final, and we beat them 4-2 at home, and then 1-1 draw away meant we had, and with only just barely, we got that last goal in the 92nd minute after they'd had a man sent off early. So we should have been able to win that one more handily. Um, just making sure I was recording. That's funny. We got to the semi-final of the Champions Cup, where we faced Man City at home, 0-0 draw, and then Kasper Dolberg got us an away goal to give us a 1-1 draw, and move on to the Champions League final, where we faced on the 1st of June in 2019, we faced Liverpool in the Champions League final. Funnily enough, exactly as happened in real life. The difference is this time we lost 2-1 instead of 2-0, and Salah got one goal, Firmino the other. Lucas Moura had the early lead for us, but it wasn't to be. So that was that first season. Let's go back to transfers, transfer history, and we'll start looking at the next season. The next season, we bought the most important player we have bought in the history of this save, which is one wonder kid, Gedson Fernandes. Now, this guy is a beast. He's absolutely amazing for us. His history has been one of solid excellence. Playing from midfield, he's bagged a number of goals. He's been incredibly useful to us. He tackles well. He's got everything we need. We went out and bought a former Arsenal player. Now, I checked. He only ever played one Premier League game for Arsenal, so it's not that bad. But and he did go to a couple of other clubs in between. But yes, we did buy a former Arsenal player, Serge Gnabry, and he has likewise turned into a true giant of this team. Starting off with a reasonable first season, giving us a second season that was, again, reasonable, but his third season has been outstanding. 19 goals in all competitions, 16 assists. That's really good performance for a left winger. So he's done very well for us, and we've been very happy with him, especially at the price. 23 million was nothing for him. We brought in Jack Butland because Lloris was getting a little old and Gazaniga wanted to go. I'm fairly sure he did, in fact, leave. Oh, no, Michel Vorm, I should say, wanted to go, so he did leave. He went to Zenit. So we needed a backup keeper. Jack Butland was available, so 16 million, and he was ours. And last we got this left back, Jorge, from the Brazilian, from AS Monaco for just under 9 million. It was a great deal. He played very well with Ben Davis. Why? Because Danny Rose left us for 24 million, rising to 32 at Crystal Palace. Michel Vorm went. Carter Vickers back out on loan. Vincent Janssen finally left for 3.8 million. Georges Kevin Kudu went to Derby for 10 million, and the rest were a bunch of loans. We also had loaned Georges back out because he didn't get a work permit right away, so he had to go and play somewhere else. Net spend this year was pretty good, 56 million. That's a little bit more. It's double what we spent last year in terms of a net spend. So we definitely had spent a little bit of money, but realistically we're talking about a net spend of 50 million. That's not a lot of money to be playing in the top whatever. Oh, I know what I forgot to check. Let's go back here for a moment. What we didn't look at were competitions. English Premier Division. Where are you? League table? No, I want stages. There you go. Stages. Ding, 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 ding. Right. We actually won the league. 6 points clear of Liverpool. Didn't score as many goals as they did, but we had an excellent defense, which did the business for us. And we managed to win the Premier League. So, although we didn't win the Champions League, we did stop Liverpool from grabbing a famous treble with the FA Cup. The Carabao Cup, the what do you call it? Premier Division and the Champions League. So, But as you can see, they were very much our rivals. And as you can see, General Liverpool competitive, Man City competitive. We've picked up 2 new rivals that weren't there before because of how they've played for us, played against us. So that was really exciting. I very much enjoy the fact that they add new what do you call it? New rivals now. So that's pretty exciting. So yeah, we had a reasonably good season. I was pretty pleased with that. Let's go back to the schedule. We'll roll forward because we've already started looking at this year. And here it is. And guess what we started off with? A loss to Liverpool, 2-0 in the Community Shield. What do? We lose to Liverpool. We went along, winning some games. Champions League draw had Salzburg, Monaco, and Fenerbahce. Not a tough group, and we had no problem topping it. You'll notice again, Liverpool, little one loss in the Carabao Cup. They were really, everywhere we looked, we saw Liverpool in front of us, and it was getting really frustrating. So yeah, it was very frustrating. We got into the Champions Cup first knockout round, lost at OL, then beat them, and FC Bayern, lost at them, then beat them. Champions Cup semi-final, lost at Paris SG, then won 2-0 away, or 2-0 at home, and got through on away goals. Made it to the final of the Champions League, and we won it. 3-1 over Inter. They scored first, and then we came back with Fernandes, Eriksson, and Son Heung-min to make it a 3-1 win. Champions League in Atatürk Olimpiyat Stadyumu in Turkey. I'm not sure which particular Turkish team's stadium that is. I'm curious. It's Esenler Erokspor. I've never heard of them. Okay, but that's what it is. I think it might be their national stadium, but anyway, that's fine. So as you can see, we had a pretty good run. We also won the FA Cup this year, 4-2 in extra time over Brighton. Brighton, who made it to the FA Cup final. Brighton, well done, Brighton and Hove Albion. Gotta say that's a pretty good result for you. And it took us extra time to do it too. I mean, we had to score in the 96th and 120th minute to get the FA Cup. And let's see, Premier Division stages 2019-20. Liverpool wins and we finish second. So this year they stopped us from having the treble. We could have had the Premier Division, the FA Cup, and the Champions League, but Liverpool stopped us. As you can see, they're becoming kind of a pain in the butt. Transfer history. We'll go back and let's move on to the next year. Right, we brought in Filip Benkovic from Leicester, an excellent centre-back. He remains one of our mainstays to this day, and has been a really solid, excellent centre-back for us. His career stats show, he's been very effective. I rotate heavily because we've got so many games with all the different cups and Champions League and so on. The big score this summer, though, had to be Bernardo Silva, who was available from Man City, surplus to needs. They didn't need him anymore. And he's a model citizen. He's got some great traits, and just look at the attributes. There's a lot of yellow on this chart. So he's been very good for us. He's valued quite a bit higher than he was when we got him, and he's done very nicely. In the 2 years that he's been with us, 22 goals and 15 goals in all competitions. So, very nice. I've been very happy with him. And third, we brought in January, Nabil Bentaleb. Now, why did we bring in Nabil Bentaleb, of all people? He's a former Spurs player. We'd got him back from Schalke. I think he went somewhere else in the meantime, didn't he? No, just Schalke. But he was the best person available when Moussa Dembele was sold to Lazio. He really wanted to go, and there wasn't much I could do about it. Let's see who else. We had Paulo Gazzaniga had gone because he just couldn't stand being a backup anymore. Kyle Walker-Peters had gone to Newcastle. Again, he didn't want to be part of a team of two on the right. And we had Trippier and Aurier still, and they were both better than him, so we let him go. Harry Winks went to Derby. He was also very excited about the possibility of getting more playing time. With Gedson Fernandes in the lineup, he really never got much of a chance after that. And then Moussa Dembele went to Lazio for $7.5 million in January. And having lost Winks and Dembele in January, we needed a midfielder, a centre midfielder, which is where Nabil Bentaleb came in. He's a good centre midfielder. He can play as a deep-lying playmaker. He can play as a DM if we need him to. Mezzala, box-to-box. He can play a bunch of different places. And he's also done all right for us. Not great, but he's done the backup role that I wanted of him, which was, go out there, get me some sevens, and just, fill in. Give us a body in the midfield, make sure you make your tackles, and so on. So he's done a good job for us. In the schedule, we go on to 2021, and here we are. We start off with none other than Liverpool. In the Community Shield, we lose 3-2. We always lose to Liverpool. Except then we face them at home and beat them 3-0. Sound winning. I was very happy. We beat Man City 4-0 in the European Super Cup, which meant we got to go to the World Championship. We drew Paris SG, Trabzonspor, and Celtic in the Champions League, and had some epic games. And we lost to Paris SG. We beat Trabzonspor 5-1 with a hat-trick from Harry. Then a back-to-back hat-trick in the Champions League from Harry because he nailed another one against Celtic in a 5-4 thriller. That was a crazy game. It was just a crazy game. As you can see, things went on. We beat Paris SG with yet another hat-trick, and Harry had 2 goals in the Celtic game in between, which meant he at this point had 11 goals after 4 games of the Champions League, or 5 games. Bagged his 12th in the 6th game. So, nice work. Club World Championship, we beat Mamelodi Sundowns, and with not really much effort. And then we played Boca Juniors in the final and beat them with goals from Son Heung-min and Bernardo Silva. They got a consolation goal late on, but that was it. And we were the World Club Champions. There you go. I can speak. Yes, I can. Got through to the Carabao Cup final and won it on Harry Kane's goal. Champions Cup knockout round. We got Juve in the first and beat them, lost to them, 1-2 in their park, and then beat them 5-1 at our place. Very handy. Another goal for Harry Kane. I keep pointing these out because he scored a buttload of goals this year. I will show you in a minute. But FA Cup semi-final, 2-1 over Everton. So we got to the FA Cup final again. And Champions Cup quarter-final. Guess who we drew? Yes, that's right, Liverpool. They beat us 5-3 at their park. And despite 2 more goals from Harry Kane. And then we beat them 3-1 at our park with another goal from Harry Kane. And that was enough to get us through. They had Fabinho sent off in this game. That made a big difference. So we actually beat them and got through in the Champions Cup quarterfinal. Champions Cup semi-final, 3-2 over Bayern at home, 4-2 over us on the way, and they went to the final. So unfortunate, but there it is. We did get to the FA Cup final, and we won it 3-0 over Man United. Harry Kane bagged 16 goals, which is tied for the Champions League record for the most goals in one season. Harry, I want to show you how he scored this season. 54 goals. Okay, he scored 54 goals this season. 25 in the league in 26 starts. 11 in cup competitions on 8 starts, and 18 in continental. Now, that also includes the Super Cup, 1 in the Super Cup and 1 in the Club World Championship. So it's not 18, it's actually 16, but in terms of the Champions League. But 54 goals overall. That's an outrageous return, and he's just become better and better and better. He has suffered a little bit with injury. He's had a few, where it's a few weeks here, a few weeks here, weeks this one. It's, you know what I mean? It's a few moderate injuries. They're not big ones, but it has kept him out from some games. That brings us to the transfer history for this year. So we picked up Mark Ball after he was released by Liverpool. Young goalkeeper. I don't know whether he's going to make it as a prospect or not, but he's got some numbers. He's got some crappy numbers too, but he's got some decent numbers, and we'll see whether he can develop. Mostly picked him up because he's English. Lloris slowing down considerably. We picked up Jordan Pickford, and also because he's English, and we needed more English players. So he's developed into quite a decent keeper. He hasn't been as good for us as I would have hoped. 15 clean sheets in 27 games with only 16 conceded. So he's done fairly well, but he's let in some weak goals at times that I've been a little frustrated with, and I've been honestly thinking this summer about going after Donnarumma, who has become basically the world's best goalkeeper, and that would be interesting. We bought Gianfranco Zoppi, a youngster from Argentina, a wonder kid. He's a beast. He's 6'6", 201 centimeters, and 99 kilos, which is 220 pounds, more or less. So like I said, he's just a beast, and I'm really looking forward to him playing with us. We bought him and loaned him back to Newell's for the year. So he's spent the last year developing there, and he's had a good couple of seasons. We bought Baba Rahman because we didn't have... George wanted to go to Barcelona. His head got turned by Barcelona, and he wouldn't have anything but that he went to Barcelona. Eric Lamela went to Fiorentina. Again, he was just getting a little on the older side. He wasn't really getting into the team as much as I'd like, or as much as he would like. We sold on Jack Butland after we brought in Pickford, because we kept Lloris because I'm a sentimental old idiot. George went out. We got 2 great deals here. Che Cooper, who's a youngster with, great pace and not a whole lot else. Cardiff paid me 18 million for him, and Oliver Skipp, who's a bit of a prospect, but never really developed in the way that we might have hoped he would. We again got 18 million from Watford for that. So I think we did reasonably well. We only spent a net £7 million this year, and of that, $9.5 million went on a player that we immediately loaned back. So we really didn't net spend much at all this year. Let's see. I forgot the competitions last year. That's the one that I missed. Stages. How did we do in 2021? 3rd place. 9 points behind Man United. 2 points behind Liverpool, but well ahead of Arsenal, so everything is still right with the world. And the next year, which is this year, we won it again. This time with 102 points, 116 goals for. We put 11 past Crystal Palace, 10 past Watford, 9 past Everton, 9 past Chelsea. I mean, we put 7 past Man City. We could not stop scoring this season. It was just amazing. Everybody was bagging goals. Let's see if we can... Yeah. We had, 8 players with double figures? Actually, sorry, 7, because Troy Parrott was on loan at Swansea, so he doesn't really count in that. But 36 goals from Harry, 22 from Dolberg, nearly 20 from Gnabry, and 15 from Silva. And as you can see, all the way down to Fernandes with 11. So basically the core of the team is still the same bunch, but there's, things have gone interestingly well. Here's the most recent season. We'll quickly go through this, and then we'll be pretty much done with this. Beat Man United, or lost to Man United, I should say, in the Community Shield, but started the season off with a bang. Bernardo Silva with 4 goals as we thumped Chelsea 7-2 at White Hart Lane. Blackburn, Aston Villa, we lost 4-1 to Liverpool at Anfield. And you'll notice we didn't lose very much this year. We lost 1 to Man United, 1 to Liverpool, and that is it in the league. That's how we got our 102 points. 2 wins, or 2 losses, I should say. But inevitably one of them was to Liverpool, and it was a bad one. It's just always. Champions Cup, we got Celtic again, but this time with Real Madrid and Lazio. So a tough draw. It's not so much Celtic. Celtic's a good fourth team in that group, but Real Madrid and Lazio are 2 strong teams. So we got a pretty tough group here, but we did do quite well in it. As you can see, we won everything except the final game. We lost 2-0 to Real Madrid, but we'd already topped the group by then. Onwards, various cups. We lost to West Ham in the Carabao Cup semi-final, but we'd beaten them in the home leg, so we got through there. And we won the Carabao Cup. 2 goals from Harry Kane giving us a win. After beating... first knockout round, we drew Napoli. 1-1 in the first leg at their park, and then 4-0 when we brought it back home. Drew Barcelona in the next match. 2-1 win away at the Camp Nou before they came and drew us 2-2 at home. We went through with the extra goal. And then Paris SG, this season, this was the goal. This was the game, I should say. Check out this one. They scored in the first minute. We scored in the 5th. Tied up. They scored in the 21st. We scored in the 43rd. Tied up. They scored in the 45th. 3-2. 46th. 4-2. Gnabry. 4-3. Harry Kane. 55. 4-4. Harry Kane 60, 5-4. Sergio Roberto in the 81st minute to get a 5-5 draw at home against Paris SG. Then we went to their park and beat them 2-1, so it wasn't really a problem. They had 2 men sent off late. It was, they didn't really do much in this game. We beat them pretty handily. So yeah, that's how things went. We won the Premier Division, as you saw. We won the Carabao Cup. And we faced Liverpool in the final, and we finally got our revenge. This game was a cracker, and this was episode 57, and unfortunately, I am an idiot, because I completely failed to record this video, this game. Something went wrong with it. I can't remember what it was, but I completely failed to record the game. I think I thought I hit record, and I didn't, or something. I don't know, or maybe I double clicked, or I don't know what. But I didn't get the game recorded. So I think let's just for fun quickly go through this one. We'll watch the goals and then we'll call that an episode as we move into the next one, which will be a transfer special. So this is the 50th minute or so. Who is that? Bakambu blasts one in from distance. Here we are in the 79th minute. Gnabry bags the tying goal. On to extra time. In the 99th minute, Lucas Moura crosses. Son Heung-min stopped at the first try, gets the second bite, and definitely eats the cherry. 115th minute, Aurier. Dolberg. Gorgeous tip-in goal. 2 minutes later, Baba from the other side repeats the goal. Dolberg again tipped it in. And Filip Benkovic, just to make the icing on the cake, smashes, he's a centre-back, smashes one into the top bin for a 5-1 win in the Champions League final after extra time. 1-1 at full time, 5-1 after extra time. Crazy game, awesome game. I was jumping all over the place and then realized that I had not actually recorded the game. So, yes, you've seen the triumphs, you've seen my idiocy, you've seen it all. But that's how things are going. Dynamically, couldn't ask for more. Everybody's in a happy place. Hierarchy, everybody but Bentaleb supports me. He has no particular opinion. Solid social groups, no outsiders. Everybody's happy, except Kieran Trippier, who's injured. Dele Alli is out for like 4 to 6 months, having been injured against Barcelona back on the 12th of April. He really got hurt. We still have Hugo Lloris. He's still pretty good. 18 reflexes, 17 101, 17 handling. But his agility has gone down and his pace has dropped off considerably. And given the way he likes to play with rushing out and so on, he's just not the player that he was. And that's unfortunate, but I probably won't re-sign him to a new deal after this season. He's dropped off to 2.5 stars. It says he's a backup player, maybe past his best. So, yeah, he was very good, has been very good. He's still captain, but he's just not the boss. He's not the boss that he was anymore. So that's been the story so far. I hope you've enjoyed that. Obviously, I'm going to make sure that it's marked spoilers, although I don't know why I'm telling you that, because it'll already have been marked spoilers, so never mind. But that's going to be it for that episode. If I can convince my computer to let me come over here, I'm going to swap over to here and say the things I say at the end of videos. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you don't mind dropping a like or hitting subscribe if you haven't already. And I hope you have a great day. Take care.